The Ontario Justice Education Network, or for short, OJEN, is a charitable, not for profit, public legal education organization with a province wide mandate. OJEN focuses on building legal capability in youth. We provide young people with opportunities to develop key knowledge and skills that will enable them to be more confident and effective when they encounter the justice system, whether this involves navigating a legal dispute or using the law to impact their communities and effect social change.
Our approach to justice education is not just about giving youth information about the law, it's also about creating a forum for addressing difficult issues and offering opportunities for shared learning. When lawyers, judges, and police officers volunteer for our programs, they share their knowledge and experience of working in the legal system. Youth participants, in turn, share their lived experiences and knowledge of their communities.
OJEN's Youth Police Dialogues, also known as YPDs, offer youth a safe and inclusive space to share their perspectives on the issues that cause conflict between youth and police. Lawyer volunteers act as coaches, guiding youth as they develop communication and advocacy skills and learn to frame their ideas in a way which allows for a respectful exchange of perspectives. Each YPD culminates in a discussion where local police officers are invited to attend and listen to the youth, as together, youth and police jointly cultivate productive and respectful solutions.
At OGEN, we believe that building legal capability in young people and providing opportunities for legal professionals to learn from communities are two important ways to facilitate greater access to justice in Ontario.
After piloting YPDs in Toronto and Ottawa, OJEN received funding from the Ontario Trillium Foundation to develop and pilot a modified version of the program with First Nations youth in Sudbury and Thunder Bay. Youth, police, lawyers, elders, and community partners came together for 2 days to learn, talk, and share their perspectives on youth police relations in their communities.
So my most memorable moment with Youth and Police Dialogue was the making of the drums, and myself and the other youth were interacting with the police in a positive environment, and it wasn't so like I wasn't getting arrested, I guess, and it was very it was very positive, and I really liked that moment.
What I learned from lived experiences from the youth is when we got to do some role playing, and the youth were able to act out being a police officer or being using different communication styles, and you really did get to see their perspective on how a police interaction might go, if they're angry or if they're assertive or if they're fearful of police. So these interactions of when they got to act out different roles, albeit it was really, really funny, but it also had a lot of truth behind it with how they perceive police sometimes, and the different reactions that they might have when interacting with police.
It did change my perspective on police more than I thought it would have. Police also go through their own daily things, and I didn't realize that it had so much effect on them. To see individual youths going through their own daily matters and how they actually took time out of their day to come and see us and learn about us and get to know us. And I think that is a big appreciation part on our part for the youth, because now we understand police aren't just there to put us in handcuffs. They're also there to be there for us, for our safety, for our security, and to help us.
My most memorable moment at the Youth Dialogue program was when we did some live simulation. We did some acting with the youth, and you really got to see the passion when they were going through an episode. For example, one young man was being a disturbed young man at home, and you saw his emotions were raw and were able to, understand the plight that they go through when they're going through some difficult times.
A memorable moment for me is when we got to interact with the police and actually get to make the drum firsthand, and we get to realize that there's more behind uniform. The drum making was important to me because it got to reflect my culture, and it got me to realize how much in depth the culture was and how far back it goes.
The positive impacts I seen with the Youth and Police Dialogue program was the relationship building between the youth and the police, and how they got to see the officers out of uniform and that they were just ordinary people like ourselves.
I think it's very important. It's a very good opportunity for police and youth to get together and see who they are and learning rights and building those relationships with kids, because we deal with kids and people all the time, and when you have that relationship ahead of time and not just the uniform coming in, it really makes an impact, and kids understand why we're there and that we do care.
It was very important to have the elders and the seven grandfather teachings in regards to the Indigenous youth and police dialogue, because that again is knowledge that we need to share to our police officers that serve our community. It set the tone for what was going to take place those 2 days. That knowledge that grandmother and that elder brought to those 2 days was an energy that was felt by everybody that cannot be taught from a book. It's spiritual. It made the 2 days enjoyable, not only for the police officers, not only for the Indigenous youth, but the partners that took part of that program as well. The knowledge that I was taught that day was unmeasurable. And I think it's very important, especially if you want to do this program in other communities in regards to Indigenous youth with police officers. It is very important that we have that cultural piece, and that piece comes from the elders and the teachings of our seven grandfathers.
In my opinion, the impacts of the program were very positive, in that we had the opportunity to interact with the youth and hear their life experiences, and in any way that we were able to assist them, it was very rewarding.
I want them to not just assume certain things about Aboriginal people based on certain stereotypes, and just assuming that all Aboriginal people are drunks or lazy, and just assuming that that's who we are based on stereotypes. A lot of those stereotypes aren't even true.
So the one thing that I would like to add is that my own personal experience with being a police officer and putting on that uniform, it changes you, and it changes how people see you. So having an opportunity like this where what we did is on our day one, we showed up not in uniform to start that relationship building, and then day two where we came in uniform. So then the youth got to see us as people initially, and then got to associate the uniform with, hey, this, this is just a person. I thought that was really impactful for me as a police officer, because I observe people, and I observe how people react to me. And so creating an opportunity like this where I get to express I'm just a person, and so that was really impactful for me and positive for me as a police officer.
I think my favorite part was when they were acting out the skits and stuff, and just seeing a different side of the police officers, like a different side of them kind of like really showed, you know, and they got like really into the skits and stuff, and then seeing them interact with the youth was very it was a good feeling, you know, not seeing them like intimidating and, you know, being so just, you know, yeah.
I think this project is a great idea. It gives everybody an aspect of what cultures are like with police involved. It really gives us an eye-opener for them to understand what we go through. And as well as for the police officers, they also, you know, they get a more understanding of us, and that's a good thing as well, because we all need to be equal. We're all equal. We all have the same blood. We all bleed the same blood. So I was taught never judge anybody, because we are all the same. We bleed the same, you know, and we just need to be civil, because there's nothing out of war. And, you know, we can't have war between the police and us, because that won't resolve anything.
This program, for me, and from what I observed, broke down some barriers. Even myself internally thinking that I was free from any biases has given me more of an open heart and a sympathetic and understanding heart to be more effective in my work. We all tell ourselves, well, I know about this, know about that, but this program really opens up the door to really give you some great understanding that is definitely required.